This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show. This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show.
YouTube, what is up? I'm your homeboy Josh. Whoop, low bridge. Out here in the forest with not one, not two, but 3 dogs today. Yeah. I don't know what came over me or how I'm accomplishing this with minimal tangles, but I think we're doing okay. Anyway, I've been spending a little time with this guy. A lot of roots, a lot of roots. You okay back there? A lot of roots on this trail. A lot of roots, a lot of mud, a lot of dirt. It's kind of the perfect environment to torture test this guy. This is the Aegis. The Aegis. Aegis. I think it's Aegis. The Aegis from GeekVape. This device is being billed as, you know, the best device if you're, you know, like a construction worker or some shit like that. It's probably true. I mean, it's made of some very premium materials. You've got like this leather-esque kind of material in the back. I don't think it's actually leather, but it's pretty good. Pretty comfy on the hand, yeah. It's like zinc alloy, and it's like this stainless steel kind of frame over here. You know, it's like in a sort of a little cage kind of thing going on. So everything about the device is hard plastics, metals. It's made to be tough, is the idea. And with that in mind, I mean, I've seen a lot of fun videos have been done with this device. People are running over it with cars, throwing it against walls, all sorts of really fun things to do to just try and wreck this fucking thing. And with that in mind, I decided that I'd take it along for a hike today. I'm not talking about this one, I'm talking about the one that is trailing behind us and has been for the past hour or so and will be for the next hour or so. Yeah, we're going on about a 2.5 mile hike with it today, and it is just trailing in the back. I've actually anchored it onto that little guy, the little key that you use to open up the battery compartment, and it's just dragging behind us right now. And we're just knocking it into every root and every hill and every tree trunk and every puddle and bit of mud that we come across. It's taken a bit of a beating, yeah. And then when we get home, we're gonna wash it off and see if it'll fire. Sounds like fun. It's single 26-650 or, you know, 18-650 if you use the adapter that it comes with. You can use either or. Power wise, it goes up to 100 watts. So single battery 100-watt mods, to be honest with you, I've always kind of hated them. Always, every single one of them. And in terms of power consumption and in terms of battery life, this one's no exception. I hate it too. I hate all of them. All single battery mods that go up to 100 watts, I fucking despise them. When you're working at the max 100 watts, I really think they perform like shit. They'll die, you know, within a couple of hours firing them at 100 watts. But that's the thing. I think I've been looking at them all wrong. If I'm using it at something like 35, 40 watts, even 50 watts, something like that, it's getting me through about a day to 2 days. It's pretty darn good for that. Yeah, it was like the other day, and I'd brought the thing to work, and I'd forgotten to change the battery that morning. Meanwhile, I'd changed the battery the morning before. So this is like, you know, Saturday morning, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, I'm at work, and it makes it to Monday morning on a single battery. Single 26-650 battery, but yeah, not bad. And it comes with the 26-650 battery. How cool is that? How many mods come with a battery these days? Not a whole lot of them. I gotta say, I like that. Kind of a bargain. Menu system for what it is, pretty easy to operate. 1, 2, 3 clicks. You highlight your setting, and then hitting the plus button, you move through them. Temperature control nickel, temperature control stainless steel, temperature control titanium, temperature control TCR, so you can plug in your own there if you're into that kind of thing. I hate temperature control. A voltage power curve kind of mode, so So you can set it to fire at this voltage for 0.5 seconds, and this voltage for 0.5 seconds, and this voltage for 0.5 seconds if you want something like weird and wonky for some reason, I don't know. And bypass mode, so you can get the power straight from the battery if you're into that kind of thing. And then back to power. And that's about it. Pretty simple, easy to use sort of power control modes. I'm not too into everything on the display here. I mean, you've got the ohms of the coil, that's cool. You've got the amps that you're pulling, the volts, if you don't want to do all that math, it's there. And your puff counter. And that's the thing I'm never crazy about. I hate a puff counter. Why they still have puff counters this day and age, I have no idea. But beyond that, I mean, it delivers a pretty decent pull when I'm in power mode, and that's all I really care about. And like I said, vaping at 35, 40 watts, power is going to go a long way. Battery can really last at that rate. Almost over the ridge. It's looking pretty rough, guys. I don't know. It still wants to turn on. I don't know if it'll fire yet. We'll try that when we get home. But it's kicking. There's also little things on this mod that go a long way. Tiny little aesthetic choices that they've made. And I'm not talking about materials. And I'm not talking about, you know, looks. And yeah, I like the looks. I like the materials. I like all that. Yeah, that's great. I'm talking about the small things, the small choices that they made here. Like the angles of this little design that they put right below the 510. I know what you're thinking, who gives a fuck about angles, but you know what? It's attention to detail that I'm talking about here. It's attention to detail. You can't really argue with that. Basically, these little indentations that are made above and below the sort of stainless steel cage, and the angles match up to the stainless steel cage. And not just do they match up to the stainless steel cage, but there are other angles that match up to the arc of where the display is. And I just think that that's just attention to detail. Like I said, it's really putting a lot of thought into everything about the device. Not just, you know, materials that are used, not just looks of the device overall, which, you know, you can take them or leave them, but it's matching up those accents and making sure that everything looks as nice as they can make it look. So we're over the ridge. We're about maybe a quarter mile away from the car, half a mile away from the car, maybe a little less. Maybe about a quarter mile, something like that. And I did tell you we're gonna wash this guy off when we were through the hike, didn't I? Oh yeah. Go on, go for a swim. Oh, there she goes. She's been in there a little while. I guess we should pull her on out. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. Ain't looking good. Ain't looking good. So that's not one, but two dips in the pool. We'll see. We'll see how it fares when we get back to the car and get back home, get it cleaned up. See if she still wants to fire anything. Ain't looking good. That's that. About 2.5 miles on the green trail. Hit every root, hit every rock. We're coming up on another bit of a mud puddle right now that it's going to go through. But it took 2 full dips and good sized bodies of water, fully submerged. And one time we left it in there for a few seconds, so I'll be surprised if this thing still works when we get it back home. Oh, did I mention we got to go through gravel to get to the car? Oh yeah, going through gravel. Here we go. It's not bad. I mean, how many mods do you know that you can drag through the forest for 2 miles, 2.5 miles straight, get home, wash it off, and it's still gonna fire? That's impressive. Wash it off in the fucking sink, dousing it with fucking water. That's pretty cool. Still works, still vapes. It's got plenty of nicks and scratches in the leather finish. I mean, the leather finish does look pretty funked up. The metal is all scratched to fucking back. There's definitely some dirt in those accent sort of angles, whatever, that I'll never get out. I'm kind of amazed that I can still open and close the little ring for the battery compartment. That's pretty cool. There's still some embedded dirt in there though, where you put a quarter to unscrew it. I don't think that's ever gonna get out. Definitely some dirt around the screws. They'll never come out of it. It looks like it was buried. It looks like it was buried under dirt and I washed it off. That's what it looks like. But it still fires. It still works. I'd say I'm pretty impressed. Being submerged in 2 pretty deep, mud puddles, being dragged across the earth for 2.5 miles, being dragged through concrete. The screen survived. I'm honestly really surprised that the screen just didn't crack. There's some scratches on it, but for the most part, it's pretty good. I'm not a fan of single battery 18650, 26650 mods. I never will be. For me, day to day, I feel like I need a dual 18650. I can't, generally run around with a single battery mod anymore. It's just not gonna cut it. But for someone that vapes no more than about 50 watts, it's pretty good. Anyway, till next time, I'm your homeboy Josh. Vape on, Vapers.